Chapter 7. The town was glowing when we parked at the school and walked down Main Street. There were carved pumpkins in every store window. The Hanson Scissor Salon had 4 pumpkins sitting on chairs in the window. Each pumpkin had on a wig and a hat. The general store had pumpkins in their windows too. One window had an old kitchen table with a large pumpkin in the center of the table. There were at least a dozen mini pumpkins on the table, chairs, and floor. Each one was carved with circles and stars and was glowing from the strands of lights. Their other window had a small stuffed witch on the floor holding a glass bowl full of tiny fake spiders. The bowl was tipped over to look like her spiders had spilled. There were lights around her and her cobweb. It reminded me of a scene in a fairy tale. I found Emma, Nick, and Max at the hardware store where there was a maze of hay bales in the back lot. We made our way through the maze after a few wrong turns and laughed all the way back to the center of town. The Blue Moon Cafe was the highlight of the Halloween spooktacular. Mr. Adams had hired several carpenters to work overnight. They had turned the cafe into a series of small rooms. One room had one of the school teachers dressed up like a wizard, surrounded by beautiful rocks and stones. Another room had a player piano playing with no person sitting on the stool. There were glowing pumpkins all around the front porch and small carved pumpkins across the length of the cafe's counter. Our eyes got used to the dimly lit rooms. When we came around to the side door, there was a folding table covered with orange and black checkered fabric. Right in the middle of the table was a big basket full of my bars. The cafe's kitchen was shut down for the evening, and all they were selling was coffee, cocoa, and Cat's pumpkin twinkle bars. I couldn't believe it. "Look," I whispered, and my friends just stopped in their tracks. Mr. Adams had not only given me my first big order, he had featured my bars right up front for all his customers. "Ah, Miss Baker," boomed Mr. Adams, jolting us from the quiet. "It looks like you are dressed perfectly for your role." I smiled and nodded as he handed each of us a cup of cocoa. "On the house for your good work," he said. "The pumpkin twinkle bars have been so popular, I would like you to come by next week so I can order a new flavor for the upcoming holiday season," he said. And with that, he turned to his next customer. We walked out onto Main Street, and I was in business again. "Wow, he really loved the twinkle bars," Nick said. "Yeah, that was amazing," said Max. "You really started a great business." From that day forward, I became known as Cat Casey with the Twinkle Bar business. I met with Mr. Adams the following week, and he requested I make brownies with a mint flavor. I tried a few recipes and developed a regular chocolate brownie with crushed candy canes on top. I named them Holiday Twinkle Bars. Mr. Adams now orders from me 4 times per year. I make him my special red velvet brownies, I Love You Twinkle Bars, for Valentine's Day, my deluxe red, white, and blue bars, Celebration Twinkle Bars, or for the 4th of July. These are my dad's favorite, with marshmallows and red and blue sprinkles on top. Mr. Adams has also helped me with my production. He lets me use his big commercial oven the night before each holiday, where I can bake twice as fast. Before the week was over, I took out my metal box and sorted my money. In total, Mr. Adams had paid me 50 cents per brownie for a total net revenue of $250. My cost of goods sold was $146.27. It was less than my original calculations because I saved money on the eggs. I subtracted my cost of goods sold from my net revenue. That gave me a gross profit of $103.73. I set aside $5 to give to my dad for his help with deliveries and gas for the car. I also bought a new roll of plastic wrap for $1.50 and a bundle of string for 50 cents for my family's kitchen. I had used the supplies we had in the pantry, but I wanted my business to cover all the costs for my business. I got out 3 envelopes and put $5 in each for Max, Nick, and Emma. It was important to pay them for helping me with the production. I would be talking to them again about helping me on my next order, and I wanted them to know how much I appreciated their help. I set out my kitty banks in front of me and divided my profit into 5 piles. First was my Black Kitty Rainy Day Fund. I put 25% of the profit, or $20.43, in the bank. The second was my Orange Tabby for my personal funds. This was another 25%, or $20.43. The third was my metal box. I put 25% into my Twinkle Bar business account of $20.43. I will use this account for business supplies like practice recipes, extra pans, and bowls. The fourth was 10% into White Kitty for my next donation to the animal shelter of $8.18. The fifth was a new gray kitty bank I ordered. It has a silver bell around its neck that makes a twinkle sound. I divided out 15%, or $12.26, and put it in the new bank. I call it my business seed money. I will save 15% every time I have an order, so that one day I can open up my own Twinkle Bar bakery right on Main Street.